Hello everyone, Brian here. It's another beautiful morning here in Southern California, Zone 10B, in the urban peripherals of Los Angeles. I've been growing watermelons for the last 3 years now, and I've learned a lot. I like to reinvent the wheel and just play. So these are the things I've learned, and hopefully you can use them as tips. In this bed here are a couple of Yixuan Sweet watermelons. These are being grown for the Gardens Across America project, and I have a mini series going on about that project. The leaves here are smaller than what you would typically find on a watermelon plant, and this is because the plant was started much earlier in the season. When the weather warms up, they'll get their leaves will get bigger. This is a Klondike blue stripe watermelon, I believe, and I sowed the seeds a little bit later, and the leaves are a pretty good size. The basil here, the leaves I use as a nitrogen indicator. When there's a lot of nitrogen, the basils will bush out and they'll get huge. So earlier, the basil, the leaves were really small, and I amended the soil, so we're getting better leaves now. This is a yellow mountain sweet watermelon. Along with the Klondike, it's a variety that I'm trying this year. It's got a yellow flesh. The fruit right now is oddly shaped and the leaves are small. I'm going to pick it. So I've noticed that watermelons will make one fruit per vine, and when you pick it, it'll make another fruit. So these aren't ready to be picked, but I'm going to cut a couple of off to encourage a new melon to be formed, because these ones are not going to get any bigger. And now that the weather's warmed up and the leaves are looking better, I think whatever it will make right from this point on will be a pretty good sized watermelon. This is a sugar baby. This one is ready to be picked. You can tell by the color of the bottom part where it's not exposed to sun. So the deeper the yellow, the more ripe it is. So that's one way to tell watermelon ripeness. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm happy with the size of the leaves. So I'm confident that whatever fruit that it will make next will be a good sized one. Here's another sugar baby watermelon. I planted this a little bit later, and you can see the size of the leaves. These are the size of the leaves that you want. This is probably a good indicator that you'll get good sized watermelons. I've put these pots, this is a milkweed, I'm happy that it's starting to bud. Put these pots to protect the vine because my son was walking through here. When growing watermelons, I like to grow them in containers as well. And especially if you have cooler weather, the container will absorb the heat. We're going to walk this way and see a couple more watermelon plants that are being grown. And in one of the garden tour videos, I had a little kind of a guessing game going. And this is how this melon's growing. It's a pumpkin, squash, melon. And if you have any guesses, please feel free to make them in the comments. And I'll reveal the answer when the pumpkin is made. So down here, I have more watermelon. This is a moon and star watermelon. You can tell by the specks on the leaves. So this is planted a little bit dense because I started with the Klondike and it never sprouted. So I thought the seeds died. And then I put seeds for the moon and stars. And then all of a sudden they both decided to sprout. So I left them. This is a new planting area, and the soil is pretty bad. It starts off as clay, and I added stuff to amend it, but it takes a while for all the ecosystem in the soil to get going. So I'm not surprised that the leaves are small over there. So I'm going to pick the watermelons, and then we'll cut them up and let you see what they look like on the inside. This sugar baby should be ripe. The other ones should be raw still, or not ripe. This is the yellow mountain sweet, and it's starting to show a little bit of ripeness. I would go and test it later on off camera, and there's a little bit of sweetness on it. So the seeds are already forming on that one. This one is definitely not ripe, and the seeds haven't really developed. And then next, I'll cut up the sugar baby watermelon. These are all heirloom watermelons, so you can seed save and get watermelon next year. It's it's got a good sweetness. Again, check the bottom where the watermelon sits on the ground for the color. A pale color will mean that it's not ripe. And I went ahead and enjoyed the sugar baby. It was actually nice and sweet. And then the rest I'll give to the tortoises. This is Ernie. He's a redfoot tortoise. Bert's still Bert's still sleeping. It's too early for him. This is Sheldon. He's a spur-thighed tortoise, and he lives in the desert as opposed to Bert and Ernie. They live in the rainforest. In the desert, you don't have too many fruits, so I gave Sheldon the lesser of the two ripe watermelons because he's not going to be able to handle all those sugars. So that's been the watermelon update. I hope to come back with another video and show you regular full-size watermelons. And until then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.